clip you need to watch. This is a pro-Israel supporter in London being interviewed by a interviewer that doesn't really have a particular stake on either side, just interested in understanding more. He says he's spoken to a lot of people in the Palestinian camp, and this person who's clearly very invested, has a lot of personal connections in Israel and understands the conflict very, very well. He just drops a lot of truth bombs to this interviewer, and I think a lot of people could do from learning from this guy in terms of his uncompromising and clear and confident approach to telling Israel's and the Jewish people's story and exposing the lies that lie not just at the surface, at the core of the anti-Israel and Palestinian cause. You've got to watch this. Take notes. Have a watch.
Let me see if I can get some interviews. Yeah. So let me look. So I'm currently live on YouTube, sir. What I'm trying to do is good sound. So can you introduce yourself? What's your name?
Max.
So Max, tell me, I'm declaring I've covered a lot of the protests, but from the Palestinian point of view. So I've covered most of the Palestinian protests. It's important I show the other side of the coin. Yeah. So tell me from your perspective why you're down here today.
Well, it's interesting that you covered it from the Palestinian point of view, and I'll tell you why. Because there is a difference between the 2 points of view. One's based on truth and history, and the other one is fiction and fraud and lies. So I think that you should change your terminology. You didn't cover it from the Palestinian point of view. You covered it from the Palestinian Arab point of view, because they don't own the word Palestinian. There are Palestinian Jews like my family. So there has never, you need to put that underlying in your information, there has never ever been, in the history of time, an Arab Palestine. There's been a Palestine, which is a renaming of Israel, but that was never an Arab Palestine. So when people like to show coins and stamps and flags and things of Palestine, they always miss out the fact that it has an Aleph Yud, which is Eretz Israel. It was actually a Jewish Palestine, certainly wasn't an Arab Palestine. So on that basis, you are not really covering the Palestinian point of view. You may be covering the Palestinian Arab point of view, but actually none of them are actually Palestinian. In fact, I would say that even famously Ismail Haniyeh, who was finally eliminated this week, is Egyptian. And if you look at Palestinian Arabs and their names, you'll find out that their surnames, like al-Baghdadi is from Iraq and al-Mazri is Egyptian. They are not Palestinian Arabs from that part of the land. So if they want to claim an area of Palestine that is theirs, that may well be true. That will be Jordan, which is where the majority are from and are living. So, you know, Jordana, Palestina, which was the area all around, was also to the east of the Jordan River. So that is really where Palestinians come from. It doesn't say that there weren't people from different religions that lived in that land, but I think you have to understand a little bit of truth when you cover it. As an example, there are 150,000 Arabs that lived in that land when Israel declared independence in 1948. There were others that weren't exiled by Israel. They left because they were forced to leave or instructed to leave by Nasser and the surrounding armies from Egypt and others because they were going to commit genocide against the Jews, and they just failed. The ones that remained are Arab Israelis, and today they are 2.5 million Arab Israelis that live with the Jews and there's absolutely no apartheid. I mean, they serve in the army, serve in the police, serve in the courts, and they even fight in the IDF. So that's really interesting, that narrative. When you look at the 950,000 Jews that lived in Arab lands, they are virtually zero. So that's where ethnic cleansing took place, and that's where apartheid took place, and that's where apartheid still takes place.
So if I can come from my ignorant point of view, let's agree on that. Yeah.
You're not
No.
Should I tell you something?
No. I didn't interrupt you.
I did interrupt. Word. You're not ignorant. You're curious, and that's good. And that's good.
Listen, I'm from the street. Yeah, I'm from the street, and I don't pretend pretend I'm not. But can you
children more than they hate ours? That will be the end game. But I will say this, endgame is very hard because their endgame is different. To make it very clear, this is not about land and this is not about religion. This is only about one single word, ideology. And the ideology, the overarching ideology, is the establishment of a caliphate. Israel is just part one in a Middle East of which we are 0.2% amongst 47 or 49 Arab countries. But that's only step one of the global caliphate. Step two, this is their end game, this is why you asked the question. Step two of the global caliphate is absolutely without question Europe. They discovered long ago that there's two ways to conquer the world. One way is by war, and the other way is to buy it. And they have been buying it. They own 25% of British Airways and 25% of Sainsbury's. They've been putting money through our universities, putting their own professors onto campuses. The end game there is the establishment of a caliphate. The amazing part of that is that the people that are liberal-minded should be absolutely standing right here, right now, with us, not with them.
Anyway, sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You know, I don't take sides, but it's important for people like me to come out and engage with everyone. And that's what I'm doing today, but thank you very much, sir.
Would you like our end game?
Go on.
Our end game is that they wake up from the dream that they're in of establishing a caliphate, actually look at all humans as equal, like Jews do, and not look at the rest of the world as the infidel, but actually just as humankind. And when Israel and Israelis say we wanted Gaza to become Singapore, we mean it. We want them to thrive and prosper. We want them to educate. We want them to use truth and give themselves a better life instead of just directing their entire life to the death of Israel and the death of Jews. Our end game is peace. It's always been peace. Israel's always given land for peace, whether it was the Sinai and whether it was anywhere else. So that's our end game. And the vital part of that is the West and media waking up. As soon as you take the oxygen away from their fraud and their genocide and their lies against Jews, you take the oxygen, which is information and media, that will lead to an end game. So I hope, whether it's God willing or Allah willing, I'm not a religious man, that they wake up.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, yeah.
So there's really a couple things I'd like to say based on this interview. The first thing is that he is absolutely clear that Israel has faced, since her inception and even beforehand, it's been a bullying, lying, smearing campaign. And she's tried, to a fault, to actually indulge in the lies of the Palestinian cause that's been saying, we just want some land, we want a state. So Israel said, fine, we'll give you land for peace. They've done it time and time again. Of course, especially with Gaza, which was like a mini two-state solution, kind of test run, I suppose. And what did Israel get? What did Israel get? Well, she got proof that it's never been about genuine nation statehood on the so-called Palestinian side. And so I think what we can take from this is that it's so important that now we start to have an uncompromising, unwavering approach. That's the only way forward. The other side is like that. They're very clear on who they are, what they want, from the river to the sea. Well, we should do exactly the same. From the river to the sea. They call us, Israel, a Nazi state. Actually, we should say that the Palestinian flag might as well be a modern-day swastika. Because that's all it's about, is getting rid of the Jewish state, getting rid of Jewish sovereignty, getting rid of the Jews, quite frankly, in terms of their ability to protect themselves, have their own state, and live in their ancient, biblical, God-given homeland as equals among the other nations. And so that's something that I took from this and that we should all take from this. Let's stop indulging in the lies. That's the only way forward. People somehow think that we've just got to try and say, I see your side, but we want to protect ourselves and defend ourselves, and we understand you, and come on, let's have a chat, let's sit down. No, sometimes you can't do that with ideologies of hate. We crave for peace and yearn peace, but the way is not through compromise anymore, and land for peace and all these things. The second thing is that he spoke about, there's concern about the future, and what does the future hold? And it's concerning about the media being so hostile, and politics and activism and all that. It's very important.